Rich Dad, Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki expects a brutal market crash and advises buying silver, Bitcoin, and even toilet paper. Here are some of his best tweets this year. If you want to know and learn the strategies he stated, then watch the video till the end to know all of it. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Robert Kiyosaki, the writer of best-selling personal finance book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and financial influencer, took to Twitter to warn his followers of the impending global financial crisis and asked them to save food, Bitcoin, and precious metals. Well, that's some serious news. Let's ponder deeper on what he said and analyze every bit of it. The author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, has made several gloomy predictions and bleak warnings over the past couple of days. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a 1997 book, co-authored by Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter. It has been on the New York Times bestseller list for over 6 years. More than 32 million copies of the book have been sold in over 51 languages across more than 109 countries. Robert Kiyosaki has rung the alarm on multiple asset bubbles and raised the prospect of an epic market crash, hyperinflation, and even an economic depression in a barrage of tweets this year. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad author and personal finance guru has framed the next downturn as a chance to scoop up bargains and recommended buying gold, silver, Bitcoin, and even household products. Kiyosaki highlighted that in the light of the World Economic Forum being conducted at Davos, Switzerland, it is clear that the world is on the brink of one of the greatest financial collapses since World War II. He further said that the world leaders might take desperate measures that might lead to warlike situations, and people should start saving up on necessities like food, ammunition, and stores of value like Bitcoin and precious metals. Kiyosaki warned about the coming crash and urged investors to make preparations. The best time to prepare for a crash is before the crash. The biggest crash in world history is coming, the author said. But rather than panic, Kiyosaki reminded investors that there's an opportunity in a crash as well. He also recommended that people should invest in the world's largest crypto by market cap, Bitcoin, or into gold and silver. The good news is the best time to get rich is during a crash, Kiyosaki added. Bad news is the next crash will be a long one. Get more gold, silver, and Bitcoin while you can. Take care. In his best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki has been urging people to strive for financial independence through investments. The author prefers to accumulate wealth through investments in real estate, other businesses, and precious metals like gold and silver, but has also recently expressed support for cryptos like Bitcoin, BTC. For months now, Kiyosaki has been warning investors of the coming financial crash. Biggest bubble in world history getting bigger. He tweeted last week, according to Business Insider, Fed will raise interest rates, causing stock, bond, real estate, and gold crash, he said. He explained that crypto and metals will retain more of their value even during a crash. Another advantage of these assets is that they can be more easily converted to cash during a downturn compared to other assets. Why I like gold, silver, Bitcoin. Liquidity. Kiyosaki tweeted in February. 2021 people rushing in to buy a house at the top of real estate market. When real estate crashes, you cannot get out. Lately on May 23, 2022, Kiyosaki tweeted Davos, Switzerland. IMF warns world faces greatest financial challenges since World War II. Global disaster has been coming for years. Desperate leaders will do desperate things. World war coming. God have mercy on us. Save gold, silver, Bitcoin, food, guns, and bullets. This is not the first time Kiyosaki has supported Bitcoin as a good store of value. Previously, also, through his tweets, he has shed light on the various pros of Bitcoin as a store of value. Recently, in a tweet, he highlighted that Bitcoin is the future of money. He posted, "Why crashes are good. Rich Dad taught his son, and me your profit is made when you buy, not when you sell. Bitcoin is the future of money. That is why I will back up the truck when the bottom is in. It may be $17,000 or even lower $11,000. The time to get richer is coming. Take care." In another tweet, he He criticized U.S. President Joe Biden, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and Fed Chairman Jeremy Powell for their restricted policies on crypto, and said that Bitcoin would still emerge victorious. One of his latest posts on Twitter encouraged buying Bitcoin during the dip and not falling for the fear and uncertainty in the crypto markets. He tweeted, "Bitcoin crashing. Great news. As stated in previous tweets, I'm waiting for Bitcoin to crash to $20,000. We'll then wait for a test of the bottom, which might be $17,000. Once I know the bottom is and I back up the truck. Crashes are the best times to get rich. Take care." Earlier, on March 7, 2022, he tweeted, "World War III just bought 2,500 U.S. Silver Eagles in 5 green boxes. Why silver? Gold already moved up. Bitcoin is still too high. Silver 50% below the all-time high. Silver is an industrial metal as well as money. I buy silver because it is liquid and can be spent without government tracking. The environment of high inflation and interest, unlike what many investors have seen in the U.S., increases demand for assets that help weather the storm in the markets. With U.S. consumer inflation at its highest level since 1982 and swap contracts pointing to 25% in the U.S. central bank's interest rate through the end of July. Investors need to prevent further losses in their equity and debt portfolios. According to Peter Boockvar, Chief Investment Officer at Bleak Advisory Group, this is an opportunity to express optimism with gold and silver. Either the Fed will tighten too much, slow growth, and have to turn back, which is good for gold, or the Fed will tighten too slowly, real rates will remain very negative, and that will be positive for gold, he adds. Boockvar recalls that the Consumer Price Index for January came in above expectations, and the same could happen in February. But what matters for the markets is how much inflation in the U.S. will decrease from there, he concludes. Kiyosaki tweeted to his 1.8 million followers, "Do you have a plan B?" The famous author proceeded to warn that we are in the biggest bubble in world history, citing bubbles in stocks, real estate, commodities, and oil. As far as the future outlook, he warned about hyperinflation and depression. Kiyosaki tweeted, "We are in the biggest bubble in world history. Bubbles in stocks, real estate, commodities, and oil. Future? Possible depression with hyperinflation." He then explained that his plan B is to be an entrepreneur. Specifically, stay out of the stock market, create own assets, and use debt as dollar, he wrote. This is not the first time that the famous author warned about depression. In December last year, he similarly predicted that a depression is coming. Kiyosaki often tweeted blaming President Joe Biden, his administration, and the Federal Reserve for high inflation and destroying the U.S. dollar. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad author advised investors how to profit from inflation and invest like a capitalist. He outlined on Twitter on April 16 the implications of hyperinflation and the impending depression it would produce on the U.S. economy on top of what he recommends investing in to help weather the storm. Kiyosaki has been warning about a crash and depression coming with the dangers of inflation for quite some time now, forecasting that uncontrolled inflation was accelerating as a bubble was rising, including in the stock market as a result of the Federal Reserve's continued printing of money in the economy. Next up, he made an analogy between the bubble in the economy and the Wile E. Coyote moment. The moment when the cartoon character, who has run off a cliff, looks down and realizes that he's standing in thin air, and plunges. He tweeted, "Wile E. Coyote moment coming. The biggest bubble bust coming. Baby boomers, retirements to be stolen. $10 trillion in fake money spending ending. The government, Wall Street, and Fed are thieves. Hyperinflation depression here. Buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin before the coyote wakes up." On April 18th, Kiyosaki tweeted while the price of the first cryptocurrency updated its local minimum since mid-March at levels below $39,000. What is riskiest investment in global meltdown? Stocks or bonds? A. Bonds. Tragically, rookie investors follow rookie advice of 60, stocks, 40, bonds. Mix. BUI Gold Silver BC as insurance against morons running the world. Remember, a college degree is not a cure for stupidity. Finally, with the impacts of the economy taking shape on everyday people in a variety of ways, Mr. Kiyosaki believes that the parallels between what he predicted in his book, The Capitalist Manifesto, and what is happening now under the present administration are becoming more apparent. Given the ebbing tide of inflation and the low level of the stock market, Finbold has identified the top 3 financial stocks to inflation-proof your portfolio against the current markets. Kiyosaki is not the only one predicting an upcoming crash. Other high-profile investors have been predicting it as well, including Jeremy Grantham, Leon Cooperman, Stanley Druckenmiller, and Michael Burry. For sure, let's not sit clad and unbothered. I mean, what he has predicted might or might not happen, but it's better to stay alert than be ignored and not take any prior actions. Watch out and plan accordingly is decent advice to carry home. Before we end the video, remember that the content in this video should not be considered investment advice. Investing is speculative. When investing, your capital is at risk. So be sure to do your own timely wide-spectrum research and consult a financial expert before making any investment-related decisions. All right, and now what's your opinion on Robert Kiyosaki's tweets and statements? Tell us down in the comments. If you found this video infotaining, hit like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet.